You first got into business and how it went, and that's the hardest part. They glorify it and they make it look like it's all unicorns and rainbows when it's not. What's up, guys? Welcome to Winners Only, where we talk to winners, people who are winning at life, business, whatever the case may be. Today I have on Steve Riley and Nate Davis. I've known Steve for quite a while, and I met Nate through Steve. And they just became really good friends, crushing it at business up in NorCal. We're in Vegas right now. But, yeah, we're going to be talking to them. Do you guys want to say anything about yourselves? Start off?
Luis, thanks for having us. The place looks amazing. You did a great job.
Appreciate it.
Like always, going into something, if you don't know everything that you're doing, but you obsess and figure it out and create something beautiful. So proud of you, man. This place looks amazing.
Yeah, second what Steve just said, thanks for having us out. Awesome space, and just happy to be here.
Cool. Well, I know you guys didn't come for the podcast. You came for a different thing, but I'm a side mission, but that's all right.
Right?
Hey.
Yeah. But on this podcast, so this is technically our first time shooting with the name Winners Only, and the reason behind that is I feel like winners always only ever get to show their wins, and nobody talks about their losses. So in this, I don't think I told you guys prior to this, I want to talk about everything you fucked up on.
Oh.
And because nobody talks about this shit. Everybody on social media, it's always the Lambos, it's always the girls, it's always this and that, but nobody talks about, when you first got into business and how it went, and that's the hardest part. And that's what people, they glorify it and they make it look like it's all unicorns and rainbows when it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we'll go one by one. When you first got into business, what was one of your biggest failures in business, and how did that go, and what did you learn from it that you apply to your current businesses?
That's a good question. So it's funny because I'll get to a failure from when I started, but I just had one. Like, I have this flip in El Dorado Hills, literally closing today. Bought it at a great number, bought it quickly, didn't do a ton of due diligence. The house was supposed to be 1,800 square feet. It ends up being 1,300 square feet. So value, significantly was shot down. So we wanted to flip it quick, couldn't, tried to hold it, but with the market, the rent was so high, and with the big pool and the running costs for the place, it just didn't make sense due to the size. So we ended up putting more money in it than we wanted just to get out of it and clear the money back. So literally 9 months, 200 grand in, zero return. So tons of wasted time, effort, and distraction from something that was supposed to be fruitful, but we didn't do our due diligence in the beginning, which, I've done so many flips. That's a mistake you can't make.
Yeah.
It's always, if you're the entrepreneur, it's always your fault, right? We have to take the blame. The sucky part about it is we couldn't really get into this house. So we went to the county and they pulled up all the records that they had to verify the square footage for us. They told us, so we went with the deal. And then it ended up not being what we were told. So big fail.
Yeah, I also had a pretty good fail on one of my flips.
But how recent was this flip?
This flip was a couple years ago.
Okay.
My biggest fail was probably, it was 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
It's funny because I actually ended up making Steve a bet on this particular property. But I bought it, and I didn't consider the full scope of work. I thought it was going to be a little bit less. And as we got into it, one thing led to another. We ended up residing the whole house, new windows. My contractor, we weren't really holding him accountable. And I think he went 70% over budget, which obviously eats into your profit. I had the fire department called. I didn't realize that the fire insurance was going to be so high. The fire department got called. I got a fine. I was having a nice bonfire, burning doors and siding and brush. And the fire department showed up, so I got a fine for that. And then in the middle of our listing, we had a flood downstairs. I had an agent call me and say, "Hey, Nate, there's water coming through your fans downstairs." So obviously I had to take the house off the market.
Yeah.
We had to identify where the leak was coming from, and that house went about $200K on our reno, and we were looking at like maybe 100 overall. Yeah. And I sold it. I obviously didn't make any money on that. but I think we just underestimated.
Did you end up losing money or just didn't make any money?
Yeah, no, we lost. Like
Yeah.
55K.
Okay.
And a round of golf.
And a round of golf that I still have not paid up on a couple years later.
Nice. Cool. So to touch back, those were 2 real estate deals, but I know you guys are, doing things outside of real estate. So I kind of wanted to touch more on that. I know that you probably learned lessons from these deals, but I was more asking on the business side, what's one of the,
I got two good ones.
What's a business that because those are great examples, but they're one deal.
Yeah.
That's like on a broad spectrum, like what's a business that you went at it and then you just failed, and it just didn't go well. I know you got a nice trading story. You told me before how you could tell that story. That'd be a good one. I would love to put that on a clip.
That's a good clip. That's a good clip.
But yeah, maybe not outside of real estate, because I know some of your businesses are within the real estate game, but just in business in general, like what's like a business because that was a deal within a business.
Sure.
What is a business that you've started that, maybe you shouldn't have, and, you learn from it, but, how did you apply that to the next one?
So this is 2 parts, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest losses I've taken was not from the business, but the partnership that I entered. So picking the right partner is extremely crucial.
Yeah.
And not just jumping into bed with someone before you actually know their morals or, how they really treat people around them or what they really care about. That's been my biggest failure. That's cost me the most amount of money and time and relationships, right? Because it takes so long to repair relationships. You can make money, right? But
you're not talking about our failed business, right?
I'm not talking about ours. I'm not talking about ours. I don't count that as a fail. I don't count that as a fail.
That was growth. That was growth.
It was bad timing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
that was,
I
mean, there was no real loss for that. That was an experiment.
Yeah.
And then we knew when to exit.
Yeah.
We knew when to exit. We took a calculated risk. The market changed, and we exited. So I don't call that a...
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
All the businesses that you and I have done have just had bad timing.
Yeah.
Love the partnerships that we've had. And I know we're going to do something in the future. Other relationships that I've had...
Got it.
have been costly. But back to business. So my main business that I'm in is construction and roofing. One of the biggest losses I ever had was when I got greedy. So I got this big project, and I'm looking at this project like, wow, this is going to be, the biggest project I've ever done. There's going to be so much money in it, and I was careless in my preparation, and in planning and making sure that I was going to make money instead of assuming, right? So, signed the project, went through the course, end up losing about $140,000, and when you're a startup business that doesn't have that much cash, losing that is huge. And like I said earlier, time, right? So the time that we spent on that project, my guys being exhausted, they know we're screwed, right? They know we're not making any money, so they feel the pressure. The customer is upset because everyone's in a down mood, right? That was my biggest lesson of learning. You have to be over prepared. Like, for example, when we came to the podcast, you had a plan written out. You're not winging it, right?
Yeah.
You have to do the due diligence. And so I lost on the last real estate deal I just talked about. Do your due diligence and calculate and be willing to spend the time to make sure you're going to win. And that's my biggest loss and biggest mistake. So anytime I see something like that, it's spend the time and the money to make sure you have everything accounted for so that you only win.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Nate, if you say any other story besides the one I'm thinking about, we're done.
Oh, God. All right. So I had got into day trading, trading options in 2022, and I was having some early success. I had some wins and some losses. This isn't necessarily a business per se, but I was kind of learning from people online, and all these gurus that everything is always good and there are no losses, right? So I had some early success, and then I had a couple losses. I had refunded my account with $35,000, and I decided I was going to be a little bit aggressive.
Yeah.
That aggressive behavior got me up to $600,000 in 10 trading days. And I was riding high. There was
Yeah.
no way that I could lose. Like when I did lose, I lost $80,000 and it was like no big deal because the next day I made, 100 back.
Yeah.
My best day during that 10-day span, I made $205,000 in one day, sitting on my deck playing with my phone. It was like this magic money.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't real.
It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is what dreams are made of. This is great. Like,
Why do people have jobs?
yeah. Why would I ever go back to selling
Yeah.
real estate and investing
Yeah.
in real estate? Like that makes no sense when I could just sit here and not have to, deal with anybody. So it was the Friday before Mother's Day in 22. And I went all in the morning. I had a pretty sizable loss. And then I started chasing the market.
Yeah.
And every time I would chase, I was chasing out of emotion and not out of, my knowledge that I had gained in 14 days of becoming almost a millionaire. By the end of the day, I had lost $600,000.
Think.
It was 1 p.m. So in 5-6 hours,
Yeah.
I lost $100,000 an hour.
Bro, I'm texting and calling him because I know he's on this run.
And you're like, stop.
So I'm texting him, I'm calling him. I'm like, Nate and I have been talking every day. I've been watching this whole thing. But today, he's not picking up my calls. He ain't texting me back, and I'm in the market, right? I'm playing a lot smaller than that. I think I lost, I was losing too. I think I lost 17,000.
Weren't we doing the like a few? We did like 6 of
Yeah.
them. We did like 6 Skype calls. Like I was just like literally copying your trades.
It was-
and I didn't. And when you painted the picture, you made it sound like you knew what he was doing. I didn't know he was 14 days in. So
here's the thing.
You were like, "Yo, like we're crushing it." I was like, "I thought."
Here's the thing.
'Cause I didn't know Nate yet.
That run was 14 days.
Yeah.
He's got other
I did have a little.
knowledge from behind that. But here's the thing. Nate is very disciplined, right? He's sober for 5 years, works out every single day. He's got a very strict routine. He's very disciplined. So I counted on the discipline to come through, but I couldn't get Nate to sell.
It did.
I
I was
couldn't
very
get-
disciplined for 9 days.
Yeah.
Let's go that
It's
way.
when things get ugly, it's hard to be disciplined.
It was, and
When you know you can make it back, when you know you can, because when you're trading, you'll have that swing and then you'll do something and you'll get it back.
Yeah.
Like I remember I've been down 20 grand
Yeah.
instantly. And
Yeah.
then by like 9 o'clock, I'm up 5 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard to say like I wasn't disciplined because he knows he can get it back. The problem was there was a long fall.
I just remember being in the shower, watching. I had my phone in the shower, and I'm just watching the the candlesticks go the
falling
wrong
knife,
way.
yeah.
Right? Like I don't remember if I was
Just
gonna
flip the
call him.
phone upside down.
I guess invert the colors,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking lose all of this money,
yeah.
and I should sell, but I think maybe it'll come back.
But I think maybe is the
And at
where
the
you
end of the
went
day,
out.
it was all gone. I remember texting my wife, and I'm like, I had a bad day. I need you to come home after work.
Like you can't function in normal life after that. So Nate, I have a question for you that I haven't asked you.
Yeah.
What did you learn that you're going to do differently the next time you're in a position like that? For instance, in real estate, we get deals all the time. There's a potential that we could make $600,000 on a real estate deal.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn from that situation with that much gain for the next time?
Well, I mean, realistically, it's important for me. One of the biggest lessons is to trust what I've learned and not be reactive. And make sure that when I'm going through my processes, even when you're in it, you have to be able to operate in chaos. So, I learned that I need to slow down in the midst of chaos and make sure that I'm doing my fundamentals and I'm doing things right. That kind of goes into real estate too, right? You might be in a situation where there's 10 offers on the table and you might be kind of baited into overspending on a property or not do your due diligence, right? So that kind of goes into that operating in chaos. Like you have to slow down and make sure you're doing things properly.
Get away from the money.
Yeah.
The figure of
Yeah, absolutely.
I just lost a house.
Yeah. It's kind of it's when it's just numbers on a screen. It's like
It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
You know who I've seen operate under the person that has shown me the best way to operate under chaos that's made big decisions quickly is Ryan Pineda.
Yeah.
Time I spent with him learning from situations because he's got a million things coming at him. I've seen him unwaver and just literally there's no emotion. He's just looking at it from what's the problem? What's the solution? What do we have to do to get there? Okay, let's get it done.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not the emotion. And once you're around that and you see it and you're like, oh, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, then when the big stuff starts hitting you in your own life, you're like, oh, this isn't a deal. A lot of people dwell on all of the things that are coming at them and the what ifs and what am I going to do? And oh my God. And I'm sorry you feel that way.
Sure.
But
I actually like needed to hear that because like the last weeks, I feel like everything's been hitting the fan. Like a bunch of shit went wrong with my real estate stuff, like stuff here. And I just been like, you can ask Dalton, kind of like, just like kind of shitting on myself. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Why? Like, and then it's like, you got to take your emotion out of it. How do I fix it and move on?
It's our fault. Whatever happened is your fault.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have created the environment in which we live in.
Yeah.
All of the income opportunities and the hustles, whatever you're trying to do, whatever those problems are, is because we allowed it to be.
Yeah.
That's the truth of being an entrepreneur.
And I think another thing is like when you are in the game, you know, it's always hard to not compare yourself to others.
Sure.
And like, but then it's like I look back to, I know this is about you, but we're talking about me now. You know, when I met you, dude, I was in the Army. I didn't have $1 to my name.
Yeah.
So it's like in 2 years, what I've been able to do is
I had to borrow the $750 buy-in
yeah.
to get into the course that you were in.
Yeah.
And I had to mirror what you were doing
yeah.
to build my success.
So like when we met or when we learned of each other, we both were just kind of starting off, I guess, in the game. Yeah. So it's like looking back, it's like kind of crazy, you know. I'm shitting on myself the last week, but then it's like, dude, most people can't do what you've done in like the next 2 years.
Bro.
So it's like, okay, like, 100%. So it's like everybody has like a chip on their shoulder. And it's like, for me, it's kind of hard. I'm still working on my ego a bit. So like my ego gets to me and I'm like, I need to like kind of get that under control. But yeah, moving on though, those were losses. Those were sad times. Like, what was like the first successful business where everything kind of started clicking for you? I think it was the automation thing we got into. That's kind of first thing that I think about with you because I know that's when we've talked outside of a podcast, and that was your first real like revenue generating like successful business. So I guess just talk about how that started and you know what you learned initially that you didn't know then. Because obviously one of the things was we talked about. You've told me it's like it was one lunch meeting that turned into this multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah, lunch meeting I was about to bail on. I didn't really feel that good. You know, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go. And then I went, and then a week later, I think I made $75,000 on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So it's definitely my highest profit margin business, but I had brought everything over that I had learned and built because prior to 2020, I'd spent the last 7 years working 70, 80 hours a week building the companies that I was already in the construction and roofing industry. So, you know, once I was able to learn, you know, what I knew, you know, which I had paid, like I used to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month to go to these seminars and to have these coaches tell me and teach me the game. And then I started seeing it and I'm like, I don't need them anymore. I get it. I see what it is. You know, I can do this on my own. I can do it better than them for sure. So once the automation came into play, I teamed up with people who had sales expertise but didn't have the back end. Yeah. And I was all back end guy.
Well, that's what I've always noticed with you. It's like you've never, because we were big in the e-com space, but you were never an e-com guy. You were just like the systems guy. Like, yo, this is where this goes, this is where this goes, this is where this guy goes, etc. So like whenever we would talk e-com, I don't think you ever got the lingo down, but you just knew just knew the business. Yeah. So like you just knew where to put people, how to, you know, who's in charge of who, all that stuff, which I didn't know. All I know is where to get the stuff and how to sell it.
I told my wife, I said, I can be successful in any business. If a business makes $1, if there's a process that you can do that brings in $1 of profit, I will build a way to do that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times over and over and over, right? And so that's what I am good at, is finding something that produces a profit and then being able to scale out that piece and knowing, like, this is the biggest thing, like, with a lot of the companies I've had is a lot of my partners and people that I've gotten into business with don't know their numbers. Yeah. They're just like, oh, we sell for this and we make this. And I'm like, no, you actually don't. You're not charging enough. Like, you don't know your numbers. And so watching the numbers and being able to build out the process is where I've been able to be successful, which it's kind of funny because back home in my other businesses, I do all the sales. Yeah. Large part of it. I do all the sales, but I also built and run the operations, right? When you have multiple companies, there's a lot of operations going on, a lot of people involved, a lot of money, and the fortune is lost in the margin.
Yeah.
Right, 3-5% is easily lost, and when you're doing $10 million a year, that's a significant amount of money. So, literally, just bringing over what I knew into e-com, it was actually really easy to do because I just locked myself in the office and just built it out, and then my team would push it through.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember seeing you work because, like, you stayed at my house a couple of times, and it's like, you're like a night owl. He will just work on his laptop, and I was like walking. Yeah. And I'm like, I usually turn off after 6, but you can just like stay on your laptop and just go.
Since I became Steve's partner, it's like I never had somebody call me so many times at 9 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah. He's such a night owl, and like I've never been a night owl.
Yeah, like, here's the reason.
Yeah.
I'm like in bed.
Yeah.
Here's the reason. Everyone else is clocking out at 5 or 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
If I can steal 5 hours a night, right, 5 days a week, 25 more hours plus the weekend, another 10, 35, I'm damn near getting a full work week ahead of every person.
Yeah.
So,
but are you a morning guy as well?
I mean, I'm not up at 4:30 like this guy.
Yeah, that's when I
I'll
get
get up
up
at like 6:30, 7.
Yeah.
I got 15 texts from Nate. He's 9 coffees deep. And I'm like, Nate, I can't even read your text when I wake up because they just give me anxiety. Bro.
Yeah.
Like, you got to chill for a minute.
That's when I do my thinking. I'm sitting on the couch, reflecting, kind of planning my day, and I'm like, oh, Steve.
I just see, like, when we started the e-com business, I built that business from 9 p.m., to like 1
because you had your
a.m.
other businesses that you were running.
Because all the VAs, that was their time frame. So I would get home, do bath time with the kids, dinner, put them down. 9 o'clock, I would grab my laptop and we would have meetings with the VAs.
Yeah.
And then we would build for 3 or 4 hours, and I was super passionate about building that. So, 3-4 hours, then they'd do their stuff, and then they'd send me a report. I'd wake up, check on it, then I'd strategize for the day, what I'm going to give them the next night.
Yeah.
And we just built. But it was funny. Another thing I told my wife, like in 2020 when we had the stay-at-home order, I had spent 7 years completely focused on 1 to 2 companies, just fully obsessed and involved. And I was like, man, I got to get back to me. And what I like to do is I like to go for it.
Yeah.
I like to see an opportunity and chase it and build something great. And I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna stop working so much in these businesses, and I'm gonna go for something bigger. And it's crazy how it evolved from trying to chase down a guy to pay him to teach me the process, to then partnering with him and bringing life-changing money to a lot of people around us.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah. Nate, just a win, or maybe not a win, but like, when did you become a winner? Like, at what point did you stop losing that business, and what was your first successful business? Was it the realtor stuff?
Yeah. So, I mean, prior to real estate, I was, a store manager at Safeway. So I was just an employee at that time. And when I got into real estate, I wasn't super entrepreneurial. It was still just kind of a job.
Yeah.
But one of my first sale in real estate was my uncle. He was buying a house to flip, and he was getting into flipping. It was in 2012. Flipping was, all the craze. People were, getting houses super cheap, coming out of, the crash. And so I was kind of watching him from afar as I was a realtor growing, my real estate business. And I was like, I want to do that one day when I have the money, but I had never been so broke. So I just had to kind of grind, to get a sale every so often. And as my real estate business grew, I developed, kind of relationships with a lot of different people, which is a critical piece to becoming successful, I think, in the real estate space. So fast forward a handful of years, I got my first flip. I didn't have the money, but I partnered with somebody who did. And I, put the time in here, and the investor, did the money. We made, I think it was like $10,000 or $15,000 on the first deal. I guess that could be considered my first win.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was able to identify and had my own sources for money that I really got my first, I would say, good win. I encountered a person who was kind of in a financial pickle with their house, and I wanted to make sure that I was bringing them value and helping them out. But at the same time, I got a smoking deal on the house.
Yeah.
Right. So it's in a part of our area where some people wouldn't even consider flipping a house. They might say, "Hey, you ain't gonna make no money there."
Yeah.
Whereas I knew that was obviously not the case because I am really good at what I do. So on that house, I bought it, and I ended up making like $110,000 on a 30-day flip.
Nice.
So that was
a good win.
Yeah, that was my good win, and I had two like that back to back. So it was crazy.
Yeah, that helps the bankroll.
Is that like the moment you felt, you know, where the entrepreneur spirit kind of hit, where you're like, okay, I don't need to get a job again. Like, let me keep doing this.
Well, sort of, because I'm still a full-time realtor.
Yeah.
Right. So flipping and investing in real estate is more my passion, I would say.
Yeah.
Because
I have to interject. Nate is a business.
Yeah.
Nate is a licensed realtor, but what he has built is he is now a business.
Yeah.
The deals and the things that he has created in his ecosystem bring him money without anything else because of what he's laid the foundation for. So, you know, I don't call him a realtor. I joke with him all the time, but he's a business. Literally, all he has to do is open his phone, and he's got deals.
Yeah.
People wanting to sell him houses, people wanting to buy, people wanting him to list. It's just how much he wants to throttle it.
Yeah.
Right? So he has built himself into a business instead a lot of these people are just stuck as realtors.
Yeah.
And they have to go grind and like, hey, I don't know how long is this going to last. I'm going to have to go get a job. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
Nate's is just naturally flowing in.
Well, I think, you know, obviously that took years to get to that point. You know, when somebody might look at me now and hear that, they're like, wow, that just happens to everybody. Obviously, that's not you know, how it works. I've been doing this for 10 years at a pretty high level, developing systems, right, and made it to where I could open my phone and, you know, scroll through some text messages and say, all right, hey, I got some deals.
Bro, I had to have him scrape through his phone. This guy's got deals. Just sitting in there, big deals. He's just
not doing anything with them.
We go to lunch one day, and he's like, "Oh, this lady texted me like 3 months ago. I never opened this text. Let me read it. Oh, it's 3 houses on one lot. Oh yeah, I listed this a couple years ago. It never sold. Looks like she's losing it, and wants to know if I want to buy it. He's like, this was 3 months ago. I'm like, Nate,
that's
check.
Yeah.
And we drove there. We closed on that house.
Yeah.
Monday.
And it's just sitting in his phone.
It's just sitting in his phone, and we're gonna crush on that.
Yeah.
Like. He's a business. It just depends on how much he wants to make.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good position to be in.
Yeah.
It's a great position to be in.
Similar, I mean, you are a business as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, since you went there, this is the part of the podcast where I'm going to get a little selfish and just ask for some advice. So, you know what? One of the businesses that you've started, you know, how long would you say, you know, because I feel like I'm building every day, but like I'm still negative cash flow. So I'm like, how long do I keep going until I just pivot? Because right now, you know, this is kind of something we started together, and then I ended up going on my own, and I'm still trying to make it work.
Sure.
And I'm just burning cash. I mean, right now my burn's not too much. It's probably 10 to 15K a month. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be a quitter, but at the same time, I need to know when to exit and leave. And so, you know, in your head, one thing you probably don't remember telling me this, but you told me and it's stuck in my head, and you're like, if you feel like you're building, you're still building. You're like, even if you're negative cash flow, if you're putting stuff together, then it's still moving forward.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I'm doing that, but at the same time, I'm not seeing numbers increase. And I also think that's because I had it good for the last years, right? Everybody's printing money. It was so easy to sell anything on social media.
Right.
And I've never been a marketer. Like, I'm kind of like you, where I like being kind of an operator, you know, and building it out. But now I don't have a marketing team. I don't have a sales guy. So I'm like, okay, my biggest, I think, bottleneck right now is definitely clients. So I'm talking to a Facebook ads guy. I'm going to start running ads for both of the businesses, one including the studio. This is a new little side venture I did. And I also kind of knock myself a little bit because I'm like, should I have done that? Is it just a distraction from what I was already doing? But I mean, I don't think it'll be too much time, and selfishly now I can have my own podcast.
Yeah.
Right. And it's convenient because I don't have to rent anything. I just do it whenever I want to do it.
Yeah.
But on the main business, you know, at what point do you decide to pivot?
3PL?
Yeah, 3PL. Maybe not even FBA. Just I would say the 3PL logistics side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I always do is run projections for the business. You know, what are my numbers right now? What am I able to make, and what does it cost me to make that?
Yeah.
Right. Once I know that, how can I manipulate these costs to lower my overhead and increase my margin? So if you're running your projections and knowing your numbers, you can have an outlook. And I always tell people, let the business tell you what to do. Like, there's no emotion in this.
Yeah.
Right? The numbers will tell you if you can hire people, if you need to fire people, if you can invest in that building, if you can buy more inventory. You gotta know your numbers and allow the business to tell you. So my thought is, initially, I know that you're a hustler, well beyond a lot of people. I know when we were in different coaching areas together with 40, 50 people, you and I would stand out as the top.
Yeah.
Right? And we ended up teaching those classes,
Yeah.
right? And being paid to teach those that we paid to teach. So, if you want it to win, I know that you'll find the way.
Yeah.
I know that you'll do it. The problem is, if you don't know if the effort that you put in is going to produce what you need, then yeah, I would jump out of it. I would stop doing it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing people don't do is they'll get 1, 2, 3 years into something thinking, oh, I'm going to make this an amazing business.
Yeah.
And I ask them, okay, well, show me your numbers. Let's get on a whiteboard. Let's break down your business. Let me see what it's making you and everything that's coming in, and I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, once you break down the raw numbers, people are like, damn, this business sucks.
Yeah.
What am I doing? What am I doing here?
Business is not easy.
Yeah.
When I started as an entrepreneur when I was younger, I was like, man, I want to own all these different businesses of like food and drinks and all these things. And I start going by all these companies now, and I'm like, I don't know how you're in business.
Yeah.
I would never buy that business.
Yeah.
I don't know why you pay $20,000 in rent to sell lampshades. There's no way. There's no way you can sell enough lampshades.
Yeah.
Right? In a brick and mortar store. You've got to be online.
Yeah.
So analyzing the numbers and what it is, it is huge. I think that for you, I had to look at this when, for people that don't know, Luis and I, we were partners on this business, and I decided to exit just to focus on other things, but I thought the business was a great idea. The hardest part in this whole thing is there's a mad dash in the e-com space where all these people that were in drop shipping are trying to throw all this money at learning FBA and buying products, and the industry has been bastardized.
Yeah.
It really has. Luckily, you have a niche that you're able to operate in, but if you want my decision, if you want my answer to your question of it's this cut and dry, should you continue or should you stop? Right?
I guess the question is, at what point do you decide that? Because I feel like my bottleneck right now is for sure inventory, like not my own, but getting prep clients, and that's because I was reading a book, and it's like, well, what am I doing to get new clients? And it's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
Because before, when the fucking universe was printing money, everybody had money to throw at shit. And I'm like, oh, wait, now I have to like ask for people's money, So it's different it's different than the last 2 years where, everybody just was throwing money at you. So I'm like, okay, I need to get better at this marketing thing. Cause I think the margins are great, right? Like I charge $1 for the freaking unit, and I throw a sticker on it. I make 99 cents.
Yeah, your margins are.
I make 99.
It's a fantastic margin.
Yeah.
Bro.
If the overhead of employees that have to do it at scale doesn't cost you, doesn't shrink that, but
Yeah.
Well,
right now with one employee, just my sister, like we're doing maybe 10,000 units a month, and that's maybe 20% of our capacity. Like we can do more. It's just, how do we get more?
So what does the labor, what can the labor produce? What is the ROI on, for instance, one employee that works full time and everything that they can process? What is the net profit for that?
I mean, a warehouse worker, $15 an hour times 8, and then they can probably do on average, if we had the capacity, if we had the inventory coming in, 2,000, 3,000 units a day. But we don't have that. Like that's the I think my bottleneck right now is just bringing in new clientele. So that's why I feel like
if they cost you 1,000 and your overhead is 1,000, you got all the packing supplies,
Yeah.
you got the overhead of your building, payroll, tax, all that. Let's say it's 1,000 and 1,000. How much can they produce? Is it can they bring in 5,000?
3,000 to 4,000 a day if they're
A day.
a day.
So we're talking 15,000 a week
Yeah.
on
$1,000, $2,000 employee.
yeah.
Yeah. Again,
Those are great numbers.
great numbers. I think that the operations is where I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
it's the marketing, it's the bringing in new clients, and it's because the social media shit isn't as easy to sell anymore. Yeah. So that's where I think, like, for your roofing business, you're doing TV commercials, right? What are you doing for marketing?
So 2 of my main companies, one does $5 million in business, but only markets $12,000 a year. One does $7 million a year, and we market $15K a month.
Yeah,
it depends on how long you've been established in the connections, right? For you, if it was me, and I wanted the 3PL to succeed, I would be flying around, driving around, going to all these places that the people are going to buy products, and I would be intercepting them, saying, "Hey, you're here to talk to Kihi, right? Or you're here to talk to this brand at this conference.
Yeah,
you're gonna need. There's nowhere out here like." You're positioned in a great place to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right? Like in my experience with the business, there's a need for what you have here.
Yeah.
On the West Coast. I would be intercepting those people because everyone's trying to go get deals, but they don't understand that
the logistics.
You need a 3PL and a good one that you can rely on that's going to give you good prices. So I would be going to where these buyers are going to get deals, and I would intercept the buyers and try to get them into, giving you an opportunity. The obstacle that you have, which I learned, is a lot of the deals are bought on the East Coast. Yeah. And there's a ton of 3PLs on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So the market is a little smaller out here, but there's a little niche. So I would find the people trying to buy the products and intercept.
Good. Boom. Millionaire tomorrow.
There you go.
I don't know. I that's for the most part, like all the questions I had. We can kind of just shoot from the hip now. You got anything specifically you want to talk about?
How long you been doing 3PL?
November, technically. Oh, actually, no. February?
So
because the first
4 months?
4 months.
So here's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
I remember when
I've got a business I've been in for 2 years that's made me $0.
Yeah. The auto detail?
Yeah. I haven't taken any money from that business.
Yeah.
Right? You're only 4 months in.
Why does it feel like it's a lot longer than that?
It's because you're always working, your mind's always working, building, and you had good internet money. You were in the boom of the internet, right? So time, bro. What's this business going to look like in a year? From where you started to where you are now in 3PL has been a good ride, and you're making progress.
Yeah.
You just need time under your belt. You don't have enough data.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing I keep telling myself too, is because I thought the reason I said November is because that's when we got the warehouse, but I didn't really even market anything till February.
Yeah.
So technically, 3-4 months.
We were out here in your warehouse.
Remember, it had nothing in it.
Had nothing in it.
Yeah, we just.
You don't have enough. You don't have enough data.
I was seeing golf balls in the
warehouse. What do you do here?
So one of the things that helped me in that situation was getting an operator.
Yeah.
Right. So if the money you're putting out and what it's bringing in is looks solid, then put an operator into the business that can get you the time that you need while you're making those relationships and developing and building out that business. Because if you're in there packing, like I've seen you do, that's great. But I would just get part-time employees, for instance, that are on call. Like when I get an order, you come in, you know what you're going to get paid per order. Here's the deal.
Yeah.
I'll employ you when I need you.
That was like one thing that happened like last month or the month before that is like we got super busy, but it's like, how is this going to stay this busy?
Sure.
Because then it's like, do I go hire somebody? So I just, went to Home Depot, but
just whistle when they come out.
Yeah. So I went and got a couple guys and they worked for like a week, but then it's like having an on-call guy is nobody wants to work right now for some reason. I don't know why, but like it's pretty tough to find like manual labor workers. I don't know. Maybe if I was out in NorCal,
find somebody that has the drive, that wants to be around you, that sees the value of your environment. Yeah. That's the person that you need.
Got it.
A guy that you're just going to pick up for a week, you're going to spend more time teaching him, training him, showing him how you want it, and you're never going to see him again. It's a bad investment.
Yeah.
Get somebody that believes, that loves the podcast, that loves what you're doing, and wants to make some money. That would be a good key, because they're naturally already around you. And then you have an order come in, they can just move right over, go process an order, make some money, come back to watching you on a podcast, or, that's what I would do.
Got some homework to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this whole last few days have been kind of on a downer. So I just like, when you guys told me you were coming, I was like,
Let's
dope,
go.
let's go. I need this.
What else
Yeah.
got you down?
Yeah.
Just, fucking new kid coming, not making money. Freaking.
Those are two important things. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
the
and
great
I'm like,
thing
all
is
right.
you have money to
Yeah,
use.
luckily,
right?
yeah, we're like we weren't buying Lambos when we were making freaking ecom money. I mean, you got the Rari, but
Yeah.
but you I feel like even then you didn't buy that until your other businesses were successful as well.
Right.
So like, luckily, I wasn't one of those many ecom guys that were flexing the rented Lambo. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, made some good decisions where I didn't blow through my money. So I'm in a position that I like. I feel comfortable. Not having to worry about the next month, but still it doesn't feel good to like, I religiously keep track of my net worth.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I remember at our last meeting.
So end of every month and I'm like, it's down again. It's down again. Cause I'm like, I'm just trying to make this
That's
shit
how
work.
it is though, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta eat shit, pound the pavement, and
Eating shit.
I told Nate, like, our head is always down and we're building, right?
Yeah.
And we hold these high expectations for ourselves. And then like after 6 months we look up and we're like, holy shit, look what I built.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is dope.
Yeah.
And then you realize, damn, I have come really far.
Yeah.
I am building big things. Like the conversations that we have now and the people that we're around, we're never there in 2019 when we met. And
Yeah.
we were not the same people. And so sometimes you can look at progress in a few different ways.
Yeah.
But like what we've done in the short 3.5 years, takes a lot of people 25 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We've built a lot of stuff. We've built a lot of network. We've built a lot of income,
Yeah. I think the network thing is huge. Like the friends that I have now compared to 2 years ago, it's insane. It's like, I mean, you had your networking event, and I was like, I'm coming out. Flew out on an hour notice.
I honestly thought that was so cool.
Bro, Nate and I weren't really friends before that event.
Well, that was before.
Really?
We were
before
like-
the San Diego.
Like
event.
acquaintances type
So
thing?
when Christian and I did the Oceanside retreat for the 1
Yeah.
hour,
Christian, I, and Luis.
and Luis basically scheduled the whole event. Me and Christian couldn't figure it out. But anyway, Nate and I, we were kind of cool, but we
Yeah.
weren't like kicking it.
No, not at all.
And then Nate, I think he spent like $1,000, $9.99 or whatever, bought like one of the last tickets for a bedroom. And we flew down together, and we ended up sharing a freaking room.
Had to share
Yeah.
a bed.
I got there, and I was like, well, we sold the room I was in, so I'm sleeping with Nate. So we bunked up, and then literally we just started talking and hanging out. And I mean, I know that situation and that environment, one, brought Nate and I closer together.
Yeah.
We started traveling a lot together, talking business. Nate wanted to get together on some deals. I mean, the relationship and the bond has been, awesome. But we've also made a lot of money together.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, we
Those
wouldn't
are
have
the
been
best
in some of
friends.
those situations without that event and meeting and Nate asking me those questions and
Yeah.
wouldn't have made. I mean, it would have cost me $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why network.
I think it's underestimated for sure, right? The people
Yeah.
that you're around, the people you surround yourself with. You and I have only known each other for a short period of time, but I've seen you grow just in that period of time.
Yeah.
Right? To touch on what Steve was saying, like that Oceanside event really made me look at things a little bit differently. Right? I was able to change my perspective on a few things. Steve made a few comments to me that, I internalized and was like, all right, if I want to get to where I'm going, I've got to change a couple of things, right? And if you're having those conversations with the right people, it's going to change your life, right? If you're around people that aren't striving for more,
Yeah.
you're not going to make those changes. And, once you look up, those changes aren't going to be,
Yeah.
10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So,
It used to be, hey, what are we doing tonight? Where are we eating dinner? Do you want to go out to the bar? Now, literally, every time I hang out with you, we either buy a house, start a business.
Yeah.
We do something
We talk
pretty
about
crazy.
doing something. Yeah. Yeah.
Nate, literally, every day that we're hanging out, we're analyzing deals and opportunities, and we're looking at buying a big company right now together. And, it's literally, I don't know if Nate and I talk about small talk stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what we enjoy to do is talk about building something big
yeah.
Yeah.
and the projects that we have going. And so you know, you're on that path, bro. You might be frustrated with a couple things or not making money in one,
Yeah.
but I know all the things you got booming.
Sometimes, like, because I always liked our conversations where we're just like, you randomly call me and then it turns into like a 2-hour talk.
Yeah.
And I know that, and we used to do that whenever we were partners. And like sometimes I want to call you, but I'm like, oh, he's probably busy. I'm gonna start calling you.
Bro, call me. I enjoy our conversations. A lot of people call me, like, I don't keep my phone on. Like, I have a missed call. I keep my phone on silent 24/7.
Yeah.
I just pick up when I want to pick up.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're calling, I know it's a money producing call. All right, I'm either learning something or I'm buying something with you. So that's a call to pick up. People that want to just, hey, bro, you want to play golf tomorrow? I mean, unless you're bringing deals to the golf,
Yeah.
right? Like, I don't want to go play golf to play golf. When I go play golf, like, my business partners hate it because when I first started, like, in my roofing company with my partner Sean, we were golfing one day and he's like, bro, like, I can't enjoy myself. I need to get back to the office. And I was like, Sean, the big money's made on the golf course.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, bro, we're here with 2 big distributors. If we make a great relationship with them, our prices are going to drop 10, 15%, right? So during that day, those conversations started. And at the end of the day, Sean was like, bro, I can't afford to be in the office. Right? Literally. And
His whole mind just
people think
changed,
that's insane.
Yeah.
People think I'm insane when they're like, Steve, like, you know, you don't spend as much time in the office. And I'm like, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
I make so much more money when I'm out. You know, I flew to Vegas 40 times last year.
Yeah.
You know, going to lunches, people want to bring deals to me now. Right? So the lunches, the golf, the, hey, can you fly to Texas? Can you fly to Vegas? We got an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, I have to go. They're big deals. If I sit in my office and don't get out in that network, the money's not there. So, you know.
Yeah, I think putting yourself in those circles is like, initially you when I first started doing it, I definitely got like the, what do they call it? The imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And then I just like kind of got numb to it. And it's like, and then you know me, it's like, I'm going to everything I can do. And at this point, I feel like I moved to Vegas not knowing a soul.
You flew out to my event with 1 hour notice, bro. With a pregnant wife. Like, hey, I'm going to California. Steve's having an event. It's in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. You posted an Instagram story, and then I was like, well, I'm going. And then I just got the flight and I went. But
that event probably made us, like, I think we spent $600 on that event. That
Yeah.
night. Nate and I probably made $250,000 off of relationships that we made and people that were there that were like, hey, I get deals, but I don't know what to do with them. We'd love to partner with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I met like some dope people at that event. I just felt bad that like the next day my spam accounts were messaging all the guys from that.
Trying to buy your course.
Yeah, there was like, these fake Instagram accounts pretending to be me, and then I get all these new followers.
So many people message me like, hey, I was going to send some money to Luis. He's legit, right? And I was like,
no.
I'm like, wait, send me the info. It's like a crypto course. I'm like, no.
I was like, it's the fake Instagram account. No, what says Deli?
Yeah.
Deli messaged me, and I was like on my real one, he's like, hey, is this you? And I'm like, no, like, don't. But
yeah, I already sent it, and I sent you a package.
Here's the crazy thing, though. Listen to this. Luis there was 14 people there last night. You only knew 3 of them.
Yeah.
There was like 5 people that got a spam message from you to buy a course, and they were all going to buy.
Off one interaction with you.
Off of one interaction. So literally, that's why I tell people, like, nowadays, just go out and network.
Yeah.
And talk to people. Literally, I had never even met you, and I trusted you more than people I've known since 4th grade.
Yeah,
5th grade.
I remember the day we met in real life. It felt weird because I was like, "You're usually just a little square on my computer."
Yeah,
because we did business for like a year and a half before we ever met in person.
Yeah,
because I was living in Texas and you're in Sacramento, and I was like, "Dude, what?" It was weird. That was the same day I met Ed, like in person.
Right,
but like
same.
I knew Ed for 2 years before that. We've made with Ed. I made like $200K in a month doing Facebook automation.
Right.
And like I'd never met the guy in real life.
Yeah, I have buddies, like a buddy of mine in Texas. When I first met him, we were friends for like maybe a year. We've been friends now for 14 years, one of my best friends now. But when I first met him, dude, like a year in maybe, I wired him $100,000 for an investment. I had never met him. I don't even loan homies that I know from high school $5,000. I'm like, nah, like that's too risky. I just wired this dude $100,000.
Yeah.
Like with no concern. Same thing for like, you and the other people that we've had. Ed, they've wired me money. I hadn't even met Ed, and we were doing all kinds of money business together. So
it's nuts.
it's things have changed and people have to get there. People have to get there with it.
Yeah. Like your internet friends become just sometimes better friends than your real friends, like in person. Yeah,
Bro, when you and I get together, it's like one of those things where you're like all we do is talk about building and how do we fix problems and how do we make more money and how do we help more people. I'm like, I enjoy that. When I go back home and if I hang out with people that are just, they're not in that mind space, I'm like, bro,
yeah.
I got to call Nate. I think I was supposed to meet Nate for lunch.
So touching on that, I had this experience recently. So I'm sure you probably have like your high school group of friends.
Yeah.
So recently I needed some private money on a couple of flips we were doing, and I sent like our lending packet into the group chat, and a guy left the group chat. And I was like, why did he leave the group chat? And then the guy's like, oh, he just likes to keep business and friends separate. And I was like, oh my god, bro, I'm out.
Bro,
Clearly, you aren't
like,
it.
what
Here's what I tell
yeah,
people.
you're not my friend
Here's what I
anymore.
tell
But
people.
it's like, dude, yeah, it was an opportunity. Yeah.
People always say like, don't involve business and family. And I tell them all of my businesses are with family.
Yeah.
And really close friends that become my family.
Yeah.
The only time you can't merge them is if you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
And you only care about yourself.
Guess I'm out.
You know, that's the biggest thing. Family is
Yeah.
one of the best people to do business with because you know why?
You trust them?
Because I trust them.
Yeah.
They have never screwed me over.
Yeah.
The relationships that I've made with people that were not, they've never worked out.
Yeah.
They've never worked out.
Yeah.
People that I didn't know for a good amount of time. So, you know, I prefer to do business with my family because I know I can trust them, I can depend on them. And, you know, one of the biggest things too is trusting your partner and allowing them to do what they do.
Yeah.
You know?
Not being like micromanaging of your partner.
Yeah, I think that's a really important piece of the partnership is just trusting that, you know, you don't always need to physically be together. You're going to make the decision based on the best interest of the partnership.
I kind of had a really bad partnership. I think it was like a one flip, and it was like, I think just because you're super good friends doesn't mean you can be good partners always.
People get weird with money, bro. People get weird.
And I thought I could trust this kid. You know, we're doing shit together. We're hanging out outside of like the business. And it was just like a nightmare story where, I mean, I ended up losing on the deal, that's not even the worst part. It was just like my time. It was just like miserable, like 4 months.
He switched up. I remember you telling me a lot about it. He became a different person with the money and the situation. And like the goals weren't aligned either. Like, you know, with what Nate said, I told him when we first partnered, it's like, look, I don't do good when I need to tell you everything that I want to do or that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like, we'll talk about everything, but sometimes when you have to make a decision, you got to be able to free think and make the decision because your partner needs to know you did it for the best of the business. Yeah. And you have to get good at knowing those right decisions so that your partner's like, yeah, I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to know everything. And then he can freely think.
Yeah,
right?
Without having like to worry that you're going to, you know, respond in a negative way. Right. But like one thing I feel like that I've learned in partnerships is like there has to be like the whole thing we were trying to do 33 was never going to work. It's like I feel like somebody has to fucking have the reins.
Somebody does.
And it's like, and that's one thing I've learned because like 2 of the partnerships that I've had, it's like we're 50-50 and it's like, dude, 50-50 don't work. Like, because then you both feel like
who's in charge?
Who's in charge? And that was one of the things with that partnership was we were both butting heads on like, well, I want to go with this tile. I want to go with this tile. And it was like, dude, just somebody needs to just fucking do it.
The other day, bro, we spent like 4 hours at a tile shop.
Did you have a camera on us the other day?
You guys are doing.
But here's how Nate and I got into it over some tile. We didn't like get into it, but we were like, I was like, bro, that's a terrible tile. And he's like, no, I think you're wrong. This is a great tile. And I said, you know what I said? I said, Nate, I'm gonna ride with you on this one. I believe you have great taste, and we're gonna get that tile. I don't agree, but I'm gonna run it with you. I got your back.
But then I'm like, well, fuck. If it turns out shitty, I'm not.
You know how many partners I've had that could never say that?
Yeah.
Could never do that?
Yeah.
Ever?
I think trusting your partner is probably, obviously, the foundational piece to go back to making a decision. The other day, we were sitting in one of our projects, and our contractor was like, well, I told Nate that we could raise the ceiling here, and everybody looked at me. And I'm like, well...
I raised the ceiling.
Yeah.
I said I made the decision not to raise the ceiling, and I was like, "Fuck, Steve's gonna be irritated with me." But I had a reason for it.
It was 2 seconds of irritation, and I was like, "Hey, he made the call. We're on to the next thing."
And there was a reason for it,
like the trust, and then just like you knowing that they want the best for the business too. They're not like sabotaging you, so it's like they're doing everything with their best intent.
Right.
And that was like one thing I think we were butt buddies. I was like, we were good friends, and then that's where I shouldn't have gotten into business. But you live and you learn and moved on.
I'm gonna blame that one on him. I've done a lot of business with you. You're a solid, good, loyal dude.
Yeah.
He went sideways, and when people think they're getting screwed, they end up screwing themselves because you always have great intentions. I've been there with you on the very bad and the really good.
Yeah.
I've been there with you, and you've never wavered from keeping it 100.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten scammed before, and I didn't want to do that. Yeah. But I feel like even in that partnership, I ended up taking the bigger loss, but that's because I was just okay. I just wanted to leave. I wanted to be done with it versus that this guy wanted to like not lose any money, and then that was causing us.
Been there, bro.
Yeah.
Been
and it's
there.
like, dude, part of the game. You got to lose. We literally bought a house at the peak of the market, like July of last year, and then he's upset that we're losing money. I'm like, dude, you know what? You buy the house at cost, I'll take the fucking $40K loss. And then he still bitched. And then I'm like, dude, you know what? Fine, I'll buy the house at cost, but you're taking the $40K loss. And he was still upset. And he ended up buying it.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was like he started blaming shit on me. I went over budget. I was like, dude, what? It wasn't worth it. So I mean, after that, kind of exited that deal. But anyways, that was a loss. But it is what it is. We live and we learn.
And we've all had losses on this show today.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about though. More is like everybody always glorifies shit.
Yeah.
So like, what's hard?
Bro, I lose every week, every day. Somewhere something's messed up. Customer's unhappy. I'm having to give this. Someone's trying to sue me. I got to sue someone.
Oh, we got sued a couple times.
Project gets messed up.
Yeah.
The guys install the wrong thing. Like, I used to lose sleep over those.
Yeah.
Now we have a team and a process. We make a decision and we move forward. And one thing just to wrap this up is I was telling Nate the other day we had this day where we had all these like difficult conversations we had to have with all these different people. It just all kind of hit on the same day, and I just said, Nate, we got to attack this. Mm-hmm. Attack these difficult conversations. Go crush them. Get through it. Don't even think about it because you could sit here all day stewing about it. How are they going to react? What are we going to do? Screw them. You're not taking from us or whatever. It's like, bro, just go handle the conversation. Each conversation was 10 times easier than we thought. We got them all done. 2 hours later, we moved on with our life.
You know what that reminds me of is Walmart. When same exact attitude you had with that, you were like, we just got to go have these conversations.
Bro, I had them. I had 125 of them.
Yeah,
But I wanted the practice too.
Yeah.
Like,
you have to have the hard ones.
In a lot of the businesses that I own, you have to have a lot of difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And I took that e-com failure as like,
well, that's a little
Netflix. Love it.
Just turn it off. We'll just, yeah. Oh, we're on now. Okay, cool.
So I took that e-com failure as an opportunity to become better because my partners were not willing to do it. I mean, I'm sure they'll listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
They'd make a couple calls, but it was more for me like, hey, what we told them is not happening.
Yeah.
And we need to go put our face in front of them and not just send them an email or a Skype chat. Like, I'm going to call each person individually and I'm going to talk through everything and we're going to create a plan.
Yeah.
And, we refunded $1.2 million.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know a lot of companies that were in that game that just said, fuck you, you signed a contract. Yeah, so it's like, at the end of the day, I think it was our reputation and our brand that we had to keep intact because in that game, it's very easy to like look like a scammer, look like a this and that because shit goes wrong. E-com's a fucking moving target. Yeah. Like rules are constantly changing. But I mean, I guess we'll wrap it up. You guys got anything you want to close out with?
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Always love Vegas with you, bro.
It's
like my second home.
I know.
The space,
the Tesla still has your phone connected to it.
No, that's crazy. I was sleeping on his couch, bro. It was great.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys want to follow them on their social medias, their Instagrams are at
I am Steve Riley
and
the Nate Davis.
And I'm at _ No, I just got my new one.
I am Luis Barraza.
I am Luis Barraza. So thanks for tuning in. This is Winners Only. Peace.